You have something important to do right now. Something that matters for your future, your goals, or your well-being. And yet here you are, watching this video instead. But here is what most people misunderstand about that moment: procrastination is not laziness. It is not poor time management. It is not a character flaw that some people have and others do not. Procrastination is your brain's sophisticated defense mechanism against a specific type of psychological threat. And once you understand what that threat is and why your brain responds this way, you stop fighting yourself and start working with the actual psychology driving your behavior. I am going to show you what neuroscience research has revealed about why we delay what matters most, the hidden emotional regulation system behind procrastination, and the precise framework that addresses the real cause instead of just the symptoms. This is not about productivity hacks. This is about understanding the psychology that has been running your decisions without your awareness. Think about the most important task you have been avoiding. What does it feel like when you consider starting it? Keep that feeling in mind as we continue. In 2013, Dr. Timothy Pychyl at Carleton University published research that fundamentally changed how psychology understands procrastination. His team discovered that procrastination is not about time management at all. It is what he calls the primacy of short-term mood repair over long-term goal pursuit. Your brain is not avoiding the task. Your brain is avoiding the negative emotions the task triggers. Anxiety about not being good enough. Fear of judgment if you fail. Overwhelm from not knowing where to start. Resentment about obligations that feel imposed rather than chosen. Dr. Pycyl's research showed that the moment you consider starting an important task, your brain conducts an immediate threat assessment. If the task triggers emotional discomfort, your amygdala activates your stress response. Your prefrontal cortex then searches for the fastest way to eliminate that discomfort. The answer it finds is simple: do something else right now. This is why you can spend hours on low-value tasks while avoiding the one thing that actually matters. You are not being irrational. You are being extremely rational about emotional regulation. Your brain has successfully eliminated the uncomfortable feeling by directing your attention elsewhere. The people who seem to never procrastinate have not developed superior willpower. They have simply learned to work with their emotional regulation system instead of fighting it. Source: Dr. Timothy Pychyl, Carleton University, Solving the Procrastination Puzzle. Dr. Fuchsia Sirois, University of Sheffield, Procrastination and Emotional Regulation. Links in description. Mechanism 1, the emotion avoidance loop. What it is: when you think about starting a task, your brain immediately predicts the emotional experience of doing it. If that prediction includes discomfort, your brain activates avoidance behavior to protect you from that emotional state. How it works: the 3 stages. Stage 1, the emotional prediction. You consider the important task. Your brain does not evaluate the task itself. It evaluates how you will feel while doing it. Will you feel incompetent because you do not know how to start? Will you feel anxious because the stakes are high? Will you feel resentful because someone else expects this from you? That prediction happens in milliseconds. Stage 2, the avoidance response. If the emotional prediction is negative, your brain immediately searches for an alternative activity that will feel better right now. Checking email feels productive without being threatening. Cleaning your workspace feels useful without triggering anxiety. Scrolling social media provides distraction without emotional risk. Your brain presents these as reasonable choices, not as avoidance. Stage 3, the relief shame cycle. You engage in the avoidance behavior and experience immediate relief. The uncomfortable emotion is gone. But then guilt and shame arrive. You know you should be working on the important task. This creates new negative emotions, which then need to be regulated, which triggers more avoidance. The cycle perpetuates itself. Why most people miss this: you think you are avoiding the work. You are actually avoiding the feeling the work creates. A 2019 study by DRIVE Fuchsia-Sirois found that chronic procrastinators show heightened amygdala activation when facing tasks, but not because the tasks are objectively difficult. The activation occurs because their brain has learned to associate those tasks with emotional threat. Real-world examples, multiple contexts. In creative work, you avoid starting the project not because you lack ideas, but because you fear the work will not meet your standards. Your brain predicts the feeling of inadequacy and offers you research, planning, or reorganizing as safer alternatives that still feel productive. In relationship conversations, you avoid difficult discussions not because you do not care, but because you fear conflict, rejection, or emotional intensity. Your brain predicts discomfort and directs you toward avoidance disguised as waiting for the right time. In career advancement, you avoid applying for opportunities not because you are unqualified, but because you fear judgment or failure. Your brain predicts shame and convinces you that more preparation is needed first. Complexity addition, important distinction, this is not about being weak or oversensitive. Your emotional prediction system is designed to protect you from threats. The problem is that your brain cannot distinguish between physical danger and psychological discomfort. It treats both as threats requiring immediate response. You are not broken. Your system is working exactly as designed, just applied to modern challenges it was not built to handle. Recognition pattern, you procrastinate most on tasks that matter most to you. Low-stakes tasks get done easily. High-stakes tasks trigger avoidance. This reveals that procrastination is not about the difficulty of the task but about the emotional significance attached to it. Mechanism 2, the present bias paradox. What it is, your brain values immediate emotional relief exponentially more than future benefits, even when you consciously know the future outcome matters more. This is called temporal discounting, and it drives the irrational math of procrastination. The psychological mechanism, neuroscientist Dr. Samuel McClure's research at Princeton using fMRI scans showed that when you choose between immediate reward and delayed reward, two different brain systems activate. Your limbic system, which processes emotion and immediate gratification, responds strongly to right now options. Your prefrontal cortex, which handles long-term planning, responds to future benefits. But the limbic system signal is significantly stronger. This means when you choose to scroll instead of working on your important project, you are not lacking discipline. You are experiencing a fundamental imbalance in how your brain weights present comfort versus future gain. The immediate relief from avoiding uncomfortable emotions feels more valuable to your limbic system than the future benefit of completing the task. Recognition pattern, watch for the sequence, you know intellectually that the task is important. You can clearly articulate why it matters and what benefits completing it will bring. And yet when decision time arrives, you choose the immediately comfortable option. This is not ignorance or poor judgment. This is your limbic system overwhelming your prefrontal cortex in the moment of choice. Multiple perspectives. For perfectionists, you delay because starting means confronting the gap between your vision and your current ability. The discomfort of that gap feels intolerable right now, even though you know delaying makes it worse. Your brain chooses present comfort over future completion. For overwhelmed individuals, you delay because the task feels too large to process. The emotional weight of all the steps required creates paralysis. Your brain chooses present calm through avoidance over future relief through completion. For autonomy-focused people, you delay tasks that feel imposed by others because resentment triggers your avoidance response. Even if you agree the task matters, the feeling of obligation makes starting emotionally aversive. Your brain protects your sense of autonomy through delay. Pause. Which emotional prediction drives your procrastination? Inadequacy, overwhelm, or resentment? Understanding your specific trigger changes everything about your approach. Here is the framework that addresses the actual psychology of procrastination. The three-step emotional regulation approach. Step 1, name the emotion you are avoiding. Stop asking why am I procrastinating, and start asking, what feeling am I avoiding right now? The moment you consider your important task, pause and identify the emotion. Is it anxiety about competence? Fear of judgment? Resentment about obligation? Overwhelm from complexity? Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett's research shows that simply naming an emotion reduces its intensity by activating your prefrontal cortex, which regulates your limbic system. You are not eliminating the emotion. You are making it manageable. Say it explicitly, I am avoiding this because I feel anxious about not knowing where to start. That acknowledgement alone reduces the avoidance response. Step 2, commit to the smallest possible action. Your brain is avoiding emotional discomfort, not actual effort. So reduce the emotional threat by shrinking the commitment. Not work on the project but open the document and write one sentence. Not have the difficult conversation but send a text asking when they are available to talk. This works because you are negotiating with your limbic system. Small actions carry less emotional weight. Your brain can tolerate brief discomfort more easily than sustained discomfort. Once you start, the emotional prediction often proves wrong. The task feels less threatening than your brain predicted. Momentum builds from there. Step 3, separate task value from emotional comfort. Your brain conflates emotional discomfort with task importance, believing that uncomfortable feelings mean something is wrong. Break that association. Repeat this truth: this feels uncomfortable because it matters, not because I am doing something wrong. Discomfort is not a stop signal. Discomfort is information that you are doing something meaningful, something that challenges you, something that requires growth. Reframe the emotional experience from threat to evidence of significance. Why this works: this system addresses the actual mechanism of procrastination. You are not forcing yourself to work despite discomfort. You are changing your relationship with the discomfort so it no longer triggers avoidance. You are working with your emotional regulation system, not against it. Here is what transforms chronic procrastination: understanding that you have never been lazy, undisciplined, or defective. You have been operating with a highly functional emotional regulation system that is simply responding to perceived threats the only way it knows how. Every time you delayed what mattered, your brain was protecting you from predicted emotional pain. The strategy was misguided, but the intention was self-preservation. That matters. Because self-criticism keeps you in the shame cycle that perpetuates procrastination. Self-understanding allows you to work with your psychology instead of fighting it. The most important tasks in your life will always trigger some emotional discomfort. That is not a problem to eliminate. That is information to acknowledge. Growth, by definition, requires moving toward discomfort. The question is not how to feel comfortable while pursuing what matters. The question is how to move forward while feeling uncomfortable. Remember that task you thought about at the beginning, the one you have been avoiding. Now you can see it clearly. You are not avoiding the work. You are avoiding a feeling. And that feeling, when named and acknowledged, loses much of its power to control your behavior. You can feel anxious about starting and start anyway. You can feel overwhelmed by complexity and take the smallest step anyway. You can feel resentment about obligation and choose action that serves your future self anyway. If this framework helped you understand your procrastination differently, share it. Comment which emotion you have been avoiding: inadequacy, overwhelm, or resentment. And remember, procrastination is not a character flaw. It is a misapplied coping mechanism. You do not need more discipline. You need better emotional regulation tools. You do not need to feel ready. You need to act while feeling unready. That is not weakness. That is courage. That is growth. That is the hidden psychology finally working for you instead of against you.